welcome to the Poplarville Storyteller Guild. Is going to try to entertain you tonight as best we can. We've got a few changes this year from what we had before. First of all, we don't have a regular MC, Marietta Moody, and she's recovering. She'll won't be able to make it this year, but she's doing just fine. And so we're going to keep on going as best we can. Now, I want to say one thing for sure. It is an honor and a privilege for us storytellers to have you listeners to be here to hear us, because otherwise we'd just be telling to one another. And we've already heard a lot of these stories already. And so without any further ado, we're going to start out with Bill Rester as the first storyteller.
Sit this down. Wow. Right there.
Testing.
Wow.
Testing.
There it is. I was raised right here in Poplarville, sorta. I lived here, but I got some raising. I'm gonna blow their ears off right here. No, it's not.
You're fine.
Okay. I was raised right around here and went to school down here. Ended up over here at PRC, and always had a heart. I had a heart for people, and one year we was about ready to start to college, I think, and them String of Pearl girls, y'all heard of them? They was gonna be over here trying out at the college. And I got to thinking, I said, those girls are gonna try real hard and they need some support. So I called my buddy down here in the woods, Lewis Smith, and I said, Lewis, the brakes is going out in my truck. And my daddy told me not to put that truck on the road till I get it where I could stop it. And he did his finger in my face when he said that. And Lewis said, well, my truck don't have a motor in it, it's got good brakes. And I said, well, what good's that gonna do us? I said, can you get a ride and come pick me up? I was mooching. And he says, bring that old truck through the woods down here by the booms and we'll tie it. I got about a 40-foot cable with a chain on it, and we'll tie my truck behind yours. Them brakes work good. And then you can pull me on the public road and you'll have that truck fixed where it'll stop. That's what your daddy said. Now, Daddy was a stickler for detail, and that's what he told me. And just before he went to whipping me, if he caught me doing this, I was gonna be saying, Daddy, you told me that I'd be backing up and said, Daddy, you told me if as long as I got that truck where I could stop it, not to get on the road till I could do that. And he'd say, that's right, boy, I said that. So I got brave and I took off through them woods behind the house, and I showed up down at Lewis Smith's, and he had a cable back from here to that road right yonder with a little chain on it. And he come there and hooked that cable to the back of my bumper on my truck, got it secured, and then he put that around the front of his bumper, that little chain, and we come to Poplarville. Now, we was thinking about them little girls, we wasn't wanting to look at them girls out there dancing and all that. We wasn't that kind of boys. And we was thinking about them little girls needing small support. So we showed up and we driving around through the college and we practiced our signs. And I told Lewis, I said, it's important that you concentrate, because I'd sat in a lot of classes with him and I knew he had to concentrate a little bit like I did. And I said, when I need you to slow down, I'm gonna do my hand like this, And when I need you to get off the brakes where I can travel, I'm gonna do my highball sign. And I said, but when you see that arm go down like this, you put the brakes on, boy. So we went up and we practiced and we went around over there and we rode back and forth. And some of the grown-up folks over there that helped monitoring them girls got to noticing us. And so we made a circle out through there and we'd ride through, and them little girls would be out there dancing and jumping. And we'd be talking to them, out the windows of the truck. And I'd go by there and we'd see something out there, and I'd say, hey, little pretty girl, you gonna win this thing, and all this stuff, just talking a bunch of old junk. And we got to notice, and like I say, we was drawing attention. So we made us a circle out there and top. And I told Lewis, I said, we better make one more round and get out of here because they're going to run us off, heckling them girls. And we wasn't heckling, we was encouraging. But anyhow, we come back through there, waving and hollering at them again. And I told him, I said, now, when we make this trip, we're going out of here. So we come down, and where am I at? We come down to the red light up here in town, right by the Jenkins funeral home. What is Jenkins? Yeah. We come up to that red light, and I'd highballed him several times, and I was traveling pretty good. And we got almost to that light, and I did my soft slow down, and he didn't slow down, and I was cruising, coming up to that red light, and I looked back like that, and Lewis was hanging out the window. There was a couple of girls walking back towards the college, and he was hanging out the window, looking at them and wasn't looking what he was doing. And look at here, I hollered, hey! And he looked up, and I did this like that, and he slammed on brakes, and I busted that chain loose from his truck, broke it. I went through that red light, horns were blowing, and people saying ugly things to me. And I went up over the sidewalk and up in behind Jenkins Funeral Home in their backyard and got my truck swung around back towards the road. Lewis got off the brake, and his little truck, and that was a 49. It was a 49 and mine was a 57, you know, and both of them had been well used. We wasn't impressing nobody with our trucks over at the college. Look, Lewis got off of that thing, and he's come right around that corner, and there was like a Ford place or something there with a big picture window. And he got his truck stopped in front of that, you know, and I was over there. I'd come to a stop over there behind Jenkins up in them trees. And so when he got stopped, I started coming on around, trying to get back over where he was at. And two of them salesmen run out there to see what was wrong. Lewis raised his hood up, and he told him, he says, man, I don't understand this. And he run out there and looked down the road and did his hands up like this. He said, my motors fell out of this truck, and I don't see it. Somebody's done picked it up down there on the road. That thing was running like a top. And they went and looked down the road too. So I maneuvered over there and broke my truck around and got in front of him again. And I said, what's the matter, buddy? And he says, my motor fell out of my truck and somebody's done stole it. And they didn't know that I'd been pulling him, you know. And I says, can I help you? Maybe I can help you get home. And he says, you got anything to pull this truck with? And I said, I got a long cable there. I threw it in the back of the truck. It's attached to my truck, and you're welcome to tie it to yours, and I'll take you home. So I backed around there, and he got that thing all tied back together, and we left out of there, and we made home, and when I got rid of him, I come back through them woods, and I pulled that truck up to my daddy's house, and I got out there, and I put them truck tracks. It had been raining there several times. I put them truck tracks right where they was, where Daddy couldn't tell that truck's been moved. Hey, serious stuff, y'all. If you'd ever seen my daddy whoop me, the kids used to gather around the community when Daddy'd whip me. And I asked them one time, I said, why y'all coming here to watch me get whipped? And they said, well, Bill, it's kind of like a bad wreck. Nobody wants it to happen, but everybody's got to see it. You know what I'm talking about? That's a joke, Daddy. But anyway, I took that truck and I got me a brush stop like them cowboys did, and I got back there and knocked some of my tracks out. He never did know that me and Lewis went over and tried to encourage them nice girls. But
you know, Poplarville Storytellers have been telling stories here ever since the Blueberry Jubilee started. And I don't know how many years that is, but before I came here, Joe Wesley was one of the first ones that was in the Storyteller, Marietta Moody, but Hattie Gentry was one of the main ones that organized everything. And so there's a lot of names we could name as in the Storytellers, but Archie Wise and Al Saucer and a bunch of those. But they, you know, they were the local people now. But you know, there was some of those storytellers that came from out of state and everywhere that had never been storytelling before. And they came here, and now they're big storytellers. Tim Tingle was one of them. He's one of the best storytellers in the nation right now, and he started out right here, just like we're doing right here. Now, without saying any more, I'm going to introduce the next teller, would be Lorraine Craig.
Once I started, they just couldn't get rid of me anymore, so here I am back again. I know it was a few years ago now when we used to even be over at the college, but as things dwindled down and time went on, We're looking for more new tellers, so anybody that's interested, we meet every first Tuesday of the month at the Methodist Church, and we sure would love to have a whole lot more people come. All right, one spring, I lived in the north, and the birds were coming back from their migratory session in the warm south. There was an abundance of crows that year, and so we were watching them, because I love all God's creatures, and some of them made nests right near our home. So we were in the benefit of being able to watch and learn. When a new baby hatched, a multitude of crows, the whole flock, it seemed like, would circle the nest to welcome the new life. So we were watching, and as time passed, we saw that one of the nests didn't have parents coming back to it anymore. So my husband said, well, that's just not right. He crawled up the tree, and there was 3 ugly little babies in it. He put them in his cap, and he brought them home. Oh, okay. Well, the first one up and died immediately. The second one, I guess it was hungry or something, was suffering terribly. So I took it outside the next day and I shot it. That didn't go well with my son. He started crying and crying. I had murdered his friend. I said, well, listen, baby, I will do the very best I can to see this next little crow survives. And wouldn't you know it, he started to thrive. And he grew and he grew, and pretty soon I was getting tired of his cawing. He cawed day and night, 24/7. Oh, it was a pretty day, so I said, look, I'm gonna cart this little fella out, and I put his box on top of a barrel where I knew he'd be safe. It was great, till all of a sudden I realized the sun had popped up over top of the clouds and was blazing down on top of them. Uh-oh, no cawing, that wasn't good. I ran outside, and he's lying on his back with his little feet all clenched up. Oh no, I splashed cold water on him. Nothing. I splashed some more cold water on him. Nothing. I tipped him over on his tummy, and I did some soft, gentle compressions on his back in hopes that it would alert him. Nothing. Okay, I was desperate by now. I had promised to try and save that little rascal. Have anybody here done CPR on a bird? I did. I pinched his little beak open, and I cupped my hands over it, and I did several puffs. And you know what? He opened his beady little black eyes, and he gazed back up at his mommy. And that was the beginning of our adventures with Caw. Everywhere I went, he hopped along. When I went to the garden, he was there. Well, the grass grew, and he couldn't see me anymore. When he was hopping, he'd start flapping his wings and cawing loudly, and I'd have to go back and pick him up and put him on my shoulder, and away we'd go. Well, when we get to the house, he followed my son everywhere. My little boy with little matchbox cars, you know, he had a sand pile, and he made all kinds of trails and cities, and the crow was paying very good attention to what was going on. And when he'd see he liked that little car, he'd snatch it and run. I'd have a very loudly screaming child, and no matter what, he would steal his cars. So I told my husband one day, I said, you know what? He's gonna make our son bad-tempered. My husband figured, oh, she's making too big a mess of it. Well, we lived in the middle of nowhere, and it took him weeks to get parts for the car he was working on. He got it all set up, the tools lined up, and the wonderful new little part sitting right there. It was hot. He crawled up from under the car, and he's reaching, and the part was not there. He got out from under the car just in time to see the crow making off with his part. It was a mad hot rush to try and catch that crow, because he needed it. Pretty soon the crow flapped its wings and got on the edge of the barn roof, and my husband's hollering, come and get this crow before I pluck it. So, okay, I'm coming. So you can see he was a very big, frustrating mess. But time went on, and he'd get back in the sandbox, and he'd play with the cars. He started mimicking the sounds that my son would make with his cars. He'd go, rum, 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 rum. And I'm like, oh, okay. Then he started, David, where are you? Or, Mama, I need you, come here. So I told my husband, he's really talking. And my husband said, that's nice, honey. Let's not tell anybody, okay? He thought for sure I was losing it. Well, as time went on, he was helping. We had a little barn. It had a lot of stalls in it. So he was killing rats. He couldn't get in all there fast enough, so he took our dog with him. And he'd yell, sick pal, sick pal, sick pal. Oh, well, like I said, that crow loved to watch, and he loved to learn. He realized that that would be a great, fun sport. So after that, you would hear the dog and the crow in the barn. The crow would be flapping around, flying after a rat, and he couldn't catch it. You hear him yell, sick pal, sick pal, sick pal, and the dog would get it. What a sight to behold. Anyways, one day I was cooking supper, and it was a beautiful day. I left the door wide open, and the aroma of the cooking pork chops filled the air. Now, how many of you knew that a crow could smell? I didn't. But here came that crow. One fell swoop through the kitchen, grabbed 2 pork chops at his feet, and was gone. I stood there dismayed. Okay, now what's for supper? Well, I grabbed some peanut butter and bananas, and I made a goober sandwich, and he called everybody in to come and eat. They said, well, that's really nice. Where's the pork chops? And I pointed up to the top of the barn roof, and they all understood. Life with Ka was always an adventure.
As Lorraine said, we're looking for more storytellers, so please come and help us out. But we also, on that first Tuesday of every month, if you don't want to tell a story, come listen, because we need some listeners too. Okay, Mary Beth, you're next.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, thank you. You squeal my heart. What can I say? Okay. Good evening, welcome. Thanks for coming. I need some help with this. Do I have a volunteer? Preferably a small volunteer. Any volunteers? It could be royal volunteers. That would work. No? Okay, thank you. Wow, I get to work with royalty. That's cool. Now, here's what I need from you, sweetie. Can you count to 5? Okay. Okay, so we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 when I tell you, okay? Good deal. Thank you. Now, I have one blood grandchild. I have a lot of adopted ones, but only one blood one. It is my misfortune that my one blood grandchild lives in Illinois. That's a long way away. She's 6 years old now. Last time I saw her, she was 4. This COVID thing really sucks, I tell you. Well, we've developed a way of keeping in touch. And I'm just going to say right now, thank you, Mr. Bezos. I love Alexa because we get on Alexa. Her mama got her one of those little Echo devices, and they got me one of the Echo devices, and we have conversations on the Echo device. And it's very cool. She tells me stories, I tell her stories. She tells me what's going on in school. She tells me what she did that day. She tells tales on her parents, all the wonderful things that she'd do in person if we were close enough. But one thing that we do that is just so much fun that I'd have never dreamed it is we play hide and go seek. Now, hide and go seek on an electronic device is not easy, but it can be done, as she has proven. Now, the good news is I know the layout of their house. She doesn't know the layout of my house, so it gets real interesting sometimes. When she wants to play hide and go seek, she'll tell me, okay, Grandma, you count to 1,000. Okay, I'll count to 1,000. And I start counting. 1, 2, 3, and off she goes, off camera. And all of a sudden I'll hear her giggle and say, okay, Grandma, you can stop counting now. Say ready or not. Okay, ready or not, here I come. And here I come, looking for my grandbaby. So first thing is, I have to figure out what floor she's on, because they've got a second floor, and they've got a main floor, and they've got a basement. So it's like, is she in the basement? I bet she went down to the basement. So then we have to go down the basement stairs. Are you down in the basement? And she giggles. No, she's not in the basement, Grandma. Okay, so then we have to go back upstairs. First thing you know, I look around. Are you in the living room? No, I'm not in the living room. She's got the cutest giggle. Not that I'm partial. Not that, I am not biased in any way, shape, or form. So then it's like, well, maybe she went out on the patio. Let me go check on the patio. Off we go. Are you on the patio? No, Grandma, I'm not on the patio. Okay, come back in. I wonder, is she in the kitchen? Let me go check the kitchen. Oh, you're good at this. And we go in the kitchen. Are you there? No, Grandma, I'm not in the kitchen. And this will go on through every room in the house, and the pantry, and the laundry room, and the garage, and the playroom, and every room. Upstairs to the bedrooms, back down into the bathroom in the basement. You name it, we go crawling around, playing hide and go seek. Then finally she'll go, okay, Grandma, here I am. And she'll jump out. Where were you hiding? Oh, I was hiding under the TV. It's a flat screen TV. How was she hiding under the TV? Childhood imagination is a wonderful thing. And that's where she imagined she was hiding. Then it's my turn. Okay, Grandma, you go hide and I'll count. Now, hiding consists of out of the screen. And then off she goes, counting. Ready or not, here I come. Okay, here she comes. Now remember, she doesn't know the layout of the house. It's a one-story house. It doesn't have a basement. It doesn't have an upstairs. It's just a one-story house. She goes upstairs, she goes downstairs, all those wonderful ups and downs and everything in the basement and out on the patio that we don't have and up on the deck that we don't have, all the other goodies that she has in her house, so everybody must have them, right? And she chases all over. And finally, are you here? Are you there? Are you there? No, I'm not there. I'm not there. I'm not there. And then finally, she'll say, I give up, Grandma. Where are you? And then I can step back in and I can say, here I am. Where were you hiding, Grandma? Oh, I was hiding under the bed. Grandma, you can't fit under the bed. Gee, thanks a lot. Kids will be kids, right? Now, the best part of conversations with her is I never know where they're going to go. And one of them is her knock-knock jokes. Ready? Okay. Knock-knock.
Who's there?
Cedra.
Cedra.
procedure if I can get in the house? What? So, of course, being grandma, I have to come up with a good one, right? A real one. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Orange.
Orange who?
Orange, you're glad I didn't say banana? Grandma, you were supposed to say banana first. Oh well, I said it was logical. I didn't say it was right. Then we get into Grandma's telling a knock knock. She's going to tell it back. So knock knock.
Who's there?
Lemmy.
Let me who?
Let me in the door so I can see my grandma. How can you argue with something like that? That's the beauty of playing long distance with a 6-year-old. And it never gets old and it never gets tiring. And I could play with her all day long. In fact, I cheerfully would if she didn't have to go to school and I didn't have to go to work. Oh well, life intervenes. But thank you for sharing my adventures with my 6-year-old. And thank you so much for your excellent help, Your Highness.